By the end of today's video, you're going to know the 2025 method to legally get any negative item, inaccurate item, incomplete item removed from your credit report, your consumer report, whatever you want to call it. So I dropped a video, and this was this past week. I was just talking about the 2025 method. Y'all was watching it, and I wanted to just share my screen because I had someone in my community ask me a question in terms of just more specificity. And I think that it's important to have the conversation because I think it'll help y'all too, just so that y'all are having the best odds when it comes to getting the stuff deleted. So let me just share my screen and we just gonna get straight into it. So y'all can thank her for asking the question. This is a Janeri in my community. So you see what she said. She said, "Hey Michael, blah blah blah. I just saw the new video on the new 2025 credit repair method." She said, "How does this change what I have in the classroom? Are there new videos? Can you point me to the right direction?" And then she said she gathered from the video to focus on two laws. So I'm actually gonna go over them. I'm gonna literally let y'all know the shit that we do in my business so that y'all can do it for yourselves or y'all credit business if you have your own credit business, right? Because our main focus is the business funding, to be honest, and that's why I promote on the front end. So I don't mind just giving y'all all the sauce at the end of the day because we're trying to help fund $1 billion anyways to small business owners. So you fix your people's credit, bring them to us, let's get them the funding. All right, anyway, so then I replied and I said, good question. I made edits in the classroom, so which I did, and we could. Should we look at it? I don't know if that's a waste of time. Actually, y'all get in the community. You can go see it. That's a waste of my time. All right, so I was just saying the main difference with how we run our business is understanding that if we do plan to sue for a client, if we're going to go through litigation down the line at all, we're not going to use. There's a course I have in the Cat Credit University. It's called the DIY Recession Repair Remedy. Some of y'all may have it, even if you're not in the university. But basically, the whole thing with that course is we're talking about 15 USC 1681B, the permissible purpose, with 15 USC 1681C-2, block of information resulting from identity theft. Going back to my premise and what I said in that previous video, the same methods that used to work back in the day aren't necessarily working now. I will be transparent. I help many people go through litigation, get cases, dismissed as far as what's it called? Settled. That's what I mean. Get cases settled as far as getting their deletions. And this was a claim that we were using. But I talked with attorneys, as I'm always trying to elevate and upgrade my process. And I was advised by attorneys that that's not the strongest claim. So from what I got from it is that I probably got lucky when I was taking people through the process and, getting those settlements. Some of these people even got paid, you know? So I say that to say the same theme from what I said in my last video. You want to reinvent yourself, and this is how we've been doing it. So, like I mentioned, blah blah blah. If it's a FTC method, you just got to make sure know that know what's going to come with that when it comes to legalities. So I basically was talking about 1681I and 1681EB, which is what we're going to go over. And I've covered how it's in the classroom. I've already made updates. If you're in our university, Cat Credit University, the $49 a month program, you can go ahead and go to the classroom and you'll see the updates are there. If you are in our high ticket program, I've already made updates in the I think both in the classroom. No, I think the letters are in the Google Drive or something. But updates are in both programs basically. So if you're watching this is the newest information right now as I'm recording this. Obviously, I'm gonna put out more videos, but yeah. So thank Janeri for me being more specific as we go over the specific laws. Like I said right now, the way that our business is structured, if we're going to deal with a credit repair client, we don't market it as much, like I said, because our main focus is the funding and business funding is just good money. I'm not going to lie to y'all, right? And it resonates with our mission. But obviously, sometimes people need credit repair. So what comes with that is we got to understand the credit repair. You got to understand, the consumer laws. If you watch any of my videos, if you watched me for any certain amount of time, you understand that I have an extensive history of knowing these consumer laws. With me knowing these consumer laws, I've gone through things. I paid so many different people, so many different mentors. What was working in 2022, 2023, I had to learn after talking with attorneys, okay, you got to shift over here, and do it like that. So you just got to constantly reinvent yourself. And that's why it's important to invest in yourself. Because if you're just relying on an old video of me talking about something, God forbid you don't have the new information. Y'all just lucky enough or blessed enough that I decided to come on here on a free platform and say that. I could have just updated it only with the people that paid to get access to me, right? So just keep in mind, my whole theme is that you got to reinvent yourself and invest in yourself. So when it comes to literally getting items removed, right? My SOPs, the way that they're structured now, my VAs on my team, they understand what we're going to do is we're going to use our letter that's catered to 15 USC 1681I. Procedure in case of disputed accuracy. Let's get specific in terms of what it is. Procedure in case of disputed accuracy. What the fuck are we doing? We're have the procedure in case something is disputed in terms of its accuracy, right? Accuracy, completeness, the whole nine. So what we will use is 15 USC 1681A, 1681I, A1A. Y'all can read the law. You should be able, if you're watching my video, you shouldn't be an illiterate. You should know how to read. So read the damn law and look at what it's saying, right? So what are we looking for when we're looking at the actual credit report? Yes, you can use I was gonna say Credit Karma. You can use the Identity IQ, Smart Credit, whatever, but I would prefer, especially if you're gonna go through a legal process, like if we know we're gonna go through a legal process, we're gonna use the client's actual credit reports. If they're not gonna go through a legal process, I know we fall victim to sometimes being a little bit, I guess, lazy, if you will. So we just use the credit monitoring and we get results still, but it's better if you use the actual credit reports from annualcreditreport.com. So get those damn credit reports and study the damn credit report, right? So what you're going to look for incomplete payment history, look for just inaccurate shit. Look for balances that are off, stuff like that. So it's like we're taking a factual dispute approach, but then we're backing it by the consumer law, the FCRA law that has legal standing. Why does it have legal standing? If once we send our letter under the procedure in case of dispute accuracy, we made them aware. Certified mail, right? You gotta have certified mail. We made them aware that we're disputing the accuracy of these items and they're inaccurate. Let's say we get the response back from the credit bureaus or whoever, right? And they didn't do what they needed to do. On top of that, too, let's say we gave them all the reasonable information to identify us, but they're saying that they couldn't identify us or something like that. I was speaking with one of the attorneys that we work with, and he was basically telling me how that's BS when you provide all the documentation that's necessary. So when it comes to that, now that becomes a violation, right? That becomes a violation depending on the damages that are there. We were talking about me and one of the attorneys. We were talking about a case of somebody they had a bankruptcy from like 10 years ago, and then I think it was an item that got reinserted on there, and then they got denied a mortgage. So obviously, a case like that is pretty big as far as the damages. So my whole point of what I'm saying is that you want to do your dispute in terms of you're sending that out. Like keep it super simple. I've been studying these damn laws since 2021. I've obviously evolved, right? It's not our main focus, but it's obviously a focus, right? Because I have obviously an online blueprint of giving y'all the information. So yeah, that's what it is. So send that out. And if they don't do their proper investigation, they don't correct it and take the right action, obviously you want to look at your method of verification. You want to request a method of verification. So 1681I number 7. But I want to just talk about the basics. But that's the foundation of the law we're using. We're also using 1681 EB. So what is this? Compliance procedures, right? So we combine that. So it talks about maximum possible accuracy. It doesn't say minimum possible accuracy, 99% possible accuracy. It got to be 100%. That thing got to be a thou wow, 100%, right? So keep that in mind too when you are disputing. If you're just like, okay, I don't know how to paint these letters, stop being fucking cheap. We got this stuff in the classroom, right? So you can literally go here and dispute letters and it's right there. So yeah, just keep that in mind that that's there. If you're cheap as fuck, just come up with your own letter. To be honest, you don't even gotta join the university. You can literally go to Chat GPT. You can just talk about the laws I'm talking about. It really ain't that deep. But I mean, if you got a respect for what I do and all that, you could tap in with us in the classroom. But I just wanted to drop this additional video, maybe like as a part two to the last video when I talked about the 2025 method, just to add clarity to any confusion. You know what I'm saying? But that's basically how we do it now when we're just disputing. Like I said, we work with attorneys. We're mainly dealing with the unfair debt collection practices, texting, calling, emailing outside of the hours, that type of thing. We don't have attorneys in every single state, just to be transparent. I'm still working on that, but we're mainly working with Florida and Texas. So if you live in those areas, if you got a debt collector that's harassing you, we may be able to help you get compensation. I don't market it on the front end because my front end offer is the business funding. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of been like a word of mouth thing or within our current pipeline of clients. This is not something we've really publicly marketed as much, but if you're in those areas, especially Florida, we may be able to help you. It's not just the FDCPA lawsuit, but also FCRA as well. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description. I'm gonna leave a link in the comments if y'all want to tap into that. But just wanted to add this video, just record it real quick, just to add any clarity to confusion. Hopefully this helps. Continue watching my videos. This is a 2025 way, especially if you want something that's legal standing. Just focus on those two sections. I already, I'm gonna keep it super simple because I already went over the specifics. I'm gonna keep it simple by saying just focus on 15 USC 1681I, right? Procedure in case of disputed accuracy, and then 15 USC 1681, which one? E, compliance procedures. I and E. I and E, E and I and E, right? So keep it that simple. With that being said, hopefully y'all are good on y'all journey, and I hope that y'all have a blessed one. Keep watching my videos. Y'all have a blessed one.